So these are some notes from tomorrow's meeting that we're going to have. Um, your salary, Stuart Steve's salary, comes from all these goals on the Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust Grant. So it's going to be labeled NMPCT. You'll see NMPCT. That means Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust. And we established some goals with them to get this money for the salary for the lead program director position that's being split between you and Steve. And the first one is to establish 40 sustainable K-12 food rescue programs. The reality is we have added 31 new ones at this point. We only need to get 9 more the rest of the year. Now, I don't want to make that seem like that's going to be easy, because the ones that are remaining after 3 years, these are certainly schools that don't want to do it. If they did, they would have already started, and we've tried to contact all of them. So the last 9 won't be necessarily easy. And I also don't want to give you the impression that Ann did 31 schools during that time. Jennifer had a run going, and we just kind of moved some of them over into the first round of the grant. So it's not like she got 31 schools all, just on her own with the efforts that she did. There were definitely several of them that we brought over and carried them over into year 3, and we're currently in year 4. Of the 31 schools that were used to track food items donated at least 1 month in each school, so we were able to establish a daily average in their district of the food rescued from participating schools in the district. So we've got some really good data to show about how many each day, and to get all of our numbers for carbon dioxide equivalents and all of the numbers for food items. We use those numbers that we receive from those schools. We want to sign up 20 schools to use the tracking tool online, and we've added 7 so far, and that's 13 short of our 2-year goal. 6 of those 7 tool users were new of the 31 schools, and we brought 1 over from the previous 90 schools that were involved. So you're kind of reaching out to old schools that we've gotten involved and see where they'll use the tool, as well as trying to convince the ones when you do start a school to use the tool from the very beginning. Number 3, I want to recognize 120 students leaders from those 40 schools. We recognized 122 of them last year, so we've already blown through that goal. We'll just try to recognize as many students. What that process looks like is we simply ask for orders for t-shirts and certificates from all of our participating schools and give them a deadline for when to submit those names and shirt sizes, and then we get with Heather Humphrey, and she helps us mail all that stuff out. We just need to get the shirts and certificates ordered. It's with Heather's help. It ends up being not too bad of a task. 10 schools actively sharing the story in some fashion. We really only have 4 in Marion County that are doing that. We're trying to increase that up to 10, get 6 more that are just actively sharing stuff out, writing stories, that kind of thing. And then we wanted to get 40 startup kits delivered, and we've delivered 13 kits that were delivered this past year. That's 27 short of our goal. The good news on that is that we have 31 kits delivered in Marion County currently, and the reality is we never counted any of those original ones towards our year 1 and year 2 goal, because for whatever reason it wasn't one of our goals in year 1 and year 2, yet it was a goal for year 3 and year 4. So if we desperately needed to bump that up, we could borrow some of those schools from the ones that we already delivered, because like I said, we've got, 31, 33, something like that. So we also have money that needs to be spent in the last next 12 to 14 months. We have $7,297 of marketing that we can do whatever we want with. It can be social media. It can be just anything that we need to do. We could buy things to send to schools, that kind of thing. We're not limited from them on how to use that $7,297 that remains. We have $12,059 left from what's called a toolkit booklet money, which Steve designed the book, used the content that we've created in the past to make a booklet, advertises the tool. I'm running the book to the meeting, and you'll see it. We've ordered 100 of them, but we have $12,059 left to either print more booklets out and deliver them, create other things with that money that support the toolkit, or just the use of K-12 food rescue within schools. And then we have another bucket of money from a grant, $8,224 we can use on digital or social media marketing. And then we have $4,500, which is 9 refrigerators to purchase that we can use statewide, which means that you're not really responsible to use all that $4,500 in Marion County. But if you did find 9 schools that wanted a fridge, we could buy 9 schools and focus all that money in Marion County. So not necessarily locked into spending that $4,500 in Marion County. And if I was able to find 9 schools outside the state, you wouldn't have any. So it's a first come, first serve between Marion County and the rest of the state. But that money has to go keep kept within the state in the next 12 months. So from a job summary standpoint, we need to spend the money in wise and creative ways. That's going to be, we're going to be brainstorming ideas all together, you and Steve and I, in meetings. We're going to try to meet once a week regularly to touch base on what we're all doing. So we're going to try to get a meeting set, what works for everyone each week. We're going to get schools to start donating instead of dumping. That's the whole entire business plan. So we need 9 more schools that just aren't donating food currently. So we're explaining the program, the legality of it. We are asking for meetings. We're asking for phone calls between food service directors, eco club managers, our directors, student councils, teachers, principals, anybody we can think to. Oh, you're not donating. Let's show them the program. And then teaching them how to connect with a food pantry and have the food pantry come pick up. That would be what we call participating. And I think you remember that designation between the Hinkle Creek example that we gave. I know when you came into Hinkle Creek, they were participating and you moved them toward engaged, using the tool and all that stuff. So we're trying to get schools to use the tool. That would be the new schools that we get to begin, which when they start, if they haven't started yet. And then that would include recontacting schools who are not using the tool. And then also recontacting schools that signed up for the tool but didn't use it very much and say, hey, what's the problem, blah, blah, blah. And then we also try to send messages out to say, hey, could you take the picture? Because the tool now has a camera in it. Did you include a picture? That would be very, very helpful. Number 5, there's a Marion County startup kit that we will now include the 30-page book, a big dry erase board that we spent a decent amount of money on. We've got, I think, 8 of those left, but tons of money to spend for that. That $12,000 bucket, if we go back to here, can include, that's kind of a toolkit type of a thing. So that, where was I, number 5 here, that big dry erase board's not cheap. So that is going to be part of their startup kit. 2 water bottles, 5 pencils, 5 notepads, 2 backpacks, bumper sticker, and plastic container. We can have Heather can deliver all of those, or we can deliver them ourselves. 6, we could coordinate. Let's go to 6. Let's see. Coordinate drop-offs or mailings with Heather. Heather is a great volunteer. She works as a volunteer of her time, and we reimburse her money for any mailings that she does. That's Mark's wife, by the way. And Steve and I could participate in a couple of mass drop-off days. So if Heather and myself and Steve, if we decided we each wanted to take 10 schools one day and drop off, my thinking is I don't necessarily know how strong cold drop-offs would be with schools that are participating, but they don't really have any idea who's leading it, and they wouldn't even know who to give the stuff to. Some email heads up, so hey, I'm going to be here on this day, would you be available to talk? That's what I mean by mass drop-offs. If we had 40 schools and each of us took 10 one day, or if we took 5 one day and there were four of us, we could make 5 different drop-offs of those startup kits. Number 7, that's more of a, number 6 by the way, is more of a brainstorming type of a thing. Number 7, the main focus, but not all, is these 40 schools we're trying to get going. So the 31 that Ann's already got going, plus 9 new ones. We have over 80 others, and there are all sorts of management issues that come up after a school gets started. Examples are volunteer or food pantry doesn't show up, cafeteria manager quits, champion within the food school quits, or the kid graduates from a school, superintendent shuts the whole program down, food service director becomes a pain in the rear end. Bottom line is we are built to get things going, but not really offer much continued management of services. Not no continued management, but not ongoing. The fact that Pike quit is not our fault, and we still count them in our numbers. We can try to help with as problems arise, but schools have to be responsible for their own programs, including communicating with food pantry partners, seeking new ones when necessary, and handling hiccups without calling a food rescue. We cannot be a crutch for everyone. And we don't really want them to think that we are the ones picking up. It's actually the food pantry partner, and that's clear from the very beginning. IPS has their own food recovery cart paid for by IPS, so they don't really need our branding. They don't do much with our branding. We do give them startup kits and t-shirts and all the stuff that goes with recognition, but they call it food recovery. They do not call it food rescue, but they do promote our partnership, and there's a long story as to why that started, but it sort of was kind of them wanting to make it seem like their idea, which is fine. And there's been so much of change since the origins. I'm not sure it would have started with the people that are there now, but it is food recovery, and they have carts that can be ordered through the food service director, Dina Bond, at which you'll have her contact information. So when a school at IPS starts, they contact Dina, they get the cart, which is a cooler. There's pictures of it, just a whole labeling thing. And then we reward kids with certificates and t-shirts in April and May. That's simply emails that go out and contacting, say, hey, give us a list of your names of kids, their shirt sizes. We can only do 4 shirts per school, but we can do as many certificates as they want. And there's a link to order online. We send them the link. And I actually have the ability to communicate with those people via ExactTarget in a group email. So it's just, you don't need to do it individually. I'll send out a group, and then you can also do, if you want to follow up after the group email with certain ones saying, hey, we haven't had your names yet, that kind of thing, of those 31 schools and maybe even the 80 that were signed up previously in Marion County. So I sent the job description, but that 1 through 9 that we just went through is a pretty good summary. More notes. We had this Excel spreadsheet called Marion County Launch Schedule that still exists, but we dumped all that information into Steve's contact management system, which I sent you a video on that, and I'm going to go over a little bit more here to show you some versatility of the tool and how we can use it. But if it's ever, you wonder like where a phone number is, we can always go back and refer to that Marion County Launch Schedule and find a phone number of a food pantry or a contact person at a school or that kind of thing. So if we scroll on down, these are the major goals that mirror from the GLIC, CICF GLIC Philanthropies reward that we got of $40,000. We don't need to go over them because they really genuinely mirror the Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust goals, but you can see the 40 schools, the 20 signed up using the tool, 120 leaders. So we just kind of piggyback those side by side. So meeting the goals are the same for both, basically. If I were to look at those 31 schools, they're all listed here, but they're also on the tool link, and I'll show you where that is. The 7 schools that we have going for the tracking tool that are using it are noted here. Those 4 schools that are sharing are here, and I think this is the startup kits. I just forgot to label them. So why not just do that now since I've got. So, all right. Yeah, those are the startup kits. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go and I am going to pull up a link that is at foodrescue.net, and it's called the Faces of Food Rescue, and it's under our tracking tool link. But every time someone uses the tool and they take a picture, it goes to this link, and you can pull up by left clicking on the picture. Okay, should go faster than that usually, and you get a chance to save that image, and you could share that image out. So I save that image, and you know obviously how to save an image, so it's not that mystifying. But then that picture can be shared on social media, Twitter, Instagram, which you'll have all the passwords for and that nature. So this is a great one today. This was from William McKinley. It's an IPS school. Awesome to have a picture. Great to have them engaged. Today was a really good day for entries. So if I go back, if you look here, I can click on, if I want to have that as a pink, I can left click on pink, and look what we have. We have, and this has the facial recognition technology where it actually moved a little bit closer. The yellow has a more widening one. The blue, the green, they always go in for some reason, and Steve can probably tell you why that is. But that just gives you some diversity into color scheme and that type of a thing, and that can be saved as well. So you've got this whole, every time somebody uses the camera, it shows up, I think, through 25 links on that particular link, and you can always grab a blue, green, pink, or red, or the yellow one that's just the standard photo. So those are only schools that are using the camera features. We also have a, and you're not going to be able to see it here, but it's a tool graphics link that basically, and this is foodrescue.net/story-graphics, foodrescue.net/story-graphics.html. Let me see if I can move that. I don't think I can. It's the sort of the unflexibility of the tool here. Nope. One more try. There it is. foodrescue.net story-graphics HTML. So you say, well, what in the heck is that? Every time somebody makes an entry, it goes into this link right here, and I think it does the most recent 25s. So let's just say that we have Central Elementary who did not take a picture. We have a graphic of a stock photo that goes in the same thing, and that can be saved. Save that as an image, and you can share that out. So you don't necessarily have to have the school using a picture to do that. As long as they have made an entry, you've got a story to share. You've got somebody to tag, and you say, well, where can I find all of that stuff? Let's see. That link at the foodrescue.net story-graphics HTML, you kind of check that link every day and see who's been making entries, and if you happen to see one that you think for sure is Marion County that you don't see on the faces of Food Rescue, I'm trying to find an example of that. Blue Ridge, Cypress, these are not. Woodbrook, Tallwood, Ernie Pyle, they do pictures, so let's not use them as an example. Pioneer Middle School, well, let's just pretend, I guess, that Ernie Pyle wasn't using pictures and that they made an entry. You could download that link and you could still advertise an Ernie Pyle success story, even though they didn't use the camera feature. So Faces of Food Rescue is one link on the website, and then the other one we just have to send to you. So all of that also comes through our Google account, and I have recently sent you a video on how to access our Google account with see if I can, I guess that does do that. So all of our Google account goes, you click on our sent file, and these are sent, and this Muhammad Patel K-12 Food Rescue entry received, that's from Orlando. Well, let's see what happens if I click on it here, and I can show you. You can see he made an entry of 168, and that either means that you're going to see on that tool graphics link he did not use the picture, so you're not going to have somebody that has a picture from that school, but let's assume that this one, Cypress Creek, happened to be Marion County, which it isn't. You could grab that, and you can note that he used the detailed link, or the detailed Food Rescue, where he had all these items. So if I were to go back to the sent file, oops, even while we were gone, somebody else, this is an IPS one as well. So this one is Ernie Pyle. We'll scroll down. They just rescued 207 entries. So now this has my curiosity piqued. So I want to go to foodrescue.net and see if they used the tool. So I go to free tracking tool, Faces of Food Rescue, and nope, does not look like they used the picture, because the latest one is McKinley, and you would have seen Ernie Pyle. And now let's check the tool graphics link and see if Ernie Pyle, and of course what Steve's going to tell me, I'm sure, is John. It doesn't show up that quickly. It takes 5, although we could test this one and see whether that's the most recent one. Let's see, Ernie Pyle, see if this one comes up. 207 items. Let's go back to the email account. Whoop, there it is, 207. I don't know why it wasn't at the top. Obviously it mixes them together, which I did not know. So let's go back to the sent file here, and you've got the Ernie Pyle. This is another one, K-12 Food Rescue Inquiry. That means somebody inquired to the website and there's a new inquiry that shows up twice. This person is from Fishers. This is a Beech Grove one, which Beech Grove is a Marion County school. So you see 2,401 items she entered today at Central Elementary. So again, what do I do? What do I do? I go back. I go back to this link, Central Elementary, and I download the link, 2,401 items. I right click and save it as an image, and then I've got a story from Beech Grove, and I can tag Beech Grove schools, I can tag the elementary itself, I can tag any person I want to. If I want to get the attention of a media person, I could possibly tag a media person. But this is an example of an opportunity to tell a story, even though all of our tool gives us opportunities to tell stories across all of our social media platforms or wherever you can think of. So I go back to that email. I guess what I'm hoping that you're going to see is that this little email box mirrors the Faces of Food Rescue and the log tool graphic if you're looking at it every day. You really genuinely won't even need to go into this email box if you know how to use Faces of Food Rescue and the tool graphics link. So I'll just continue going down to see if I can demonstrate that even further. This is Western Community Schools, the Fraser. This is a Hamilton Southeastern School. That's a Noblesville School. Sellers at IPS. We'll click on that. Notice that she's got 514 entries. Let's prove that it definitely what's the name of the school? Oh, McKinley. Yeah, 514 items. So we're going to go to the tool graphics link, and we're going to look for McKinley, and what was that number? 514. Still looking. There it is. I'll be shocked if this doesn't show up at 514. Definitely going to have to figure out why from Steve it doesn't show up more at the top. But so you've got that one. There's the stock photo. But if we said, man, I wonder if that's on Faces of Food Rescue, we go to Faces of Food Rescue, 514 items with a personalized picture that definitely tells a more profound story, and that's the one we would want to use. Once they have taken a picture, just a reminder, you've got the ability to share that in different colors by left clicking on. So we consider this our storytelling some of our major storytelling opportunities. So going back up, or have I already lost the ability? Well, I lost my Google. Now we're back to the Google account. So this was actually one of our bigger days we've had in a long time, as far as you can still see we're in November 4th there. You've got another one from my curiosity's peaked on that one. Did they make an entry twice? 180 from Ernie Pyle. So we had one school that made two different entries in the same day. Go back to the file. We got one from Virginia there. That's from Blue River in Frankfort, Indiana. That's from Carmel and Woodbrook. Back to the Florida one from OCPS, which is Orange County Public School System in Florida, in Orlando. We got this one from Lebanon. We have a new at Ohio University. They signed up for the tool today, which is awesome, because we're still on, well, this is actually yesterday, November 4th. So I guess all these entries were November 4th and November 5th. So we had a lot of activity, which is good news the last few days. But again, all those emails are connected with the Faces of Food Rescue. Anyway, Faces of Food Rescue, which is, again, is at foodrescue.net on the tracking tool. I can go back to that, foodrescue.net. I'm going to hover over the free tracking tool, Faces of Food Rescue, and you scroll down. And you're going to have some schools, by the way, they're going to say, April, I'd really like to know what my totals are since the beginning of time. And again, I think you might have seen this before, but over the free tracking tool, you can left click on the live impact dashboard. There's a video on this, but since I'm on a roll, why not show you how to do it now? This is the total since we've started, 11,137,000, and that's only schools that use the tool. Lots of them don't use the tool, so our numbers are really probably 5 times larger than that, or at least 4 times larger. So if we left click on this arrow here and we were to try to find, let's just think of a school who we just saw up there, Central Elementary. We can left click on, that's not a good one because we get two different Central Elementaries. Let's find a different one that we saw. Let's just do this Cypress Creek that was from Orlando. You can left click on Cypress Creek High School. You can see their total is 39,600, and that can be saved. If I scroll up, you can save it right there, download it. Let's just do it. Save the, click on image, and it saved it down way down below in the left hand corner. That image right there was saved. Now you say, boy, I'd like to have that with a branded link. You can left click on social, and same process, scroll down and download that image, and that can be shared. And you see you've got the Kroger Zero. You can link Kroger. We link the Pulliam Trust. We link Glick Philanthropies, Kroger, all these funders. We try to link them in our stories when we tell it, because if you don't tag somebody, you're basically shouting into a crowded room and nobody's paying attention. So we tag the school, the PTOs, all kinds of stuff, rather than just post it with no tagging. It's not like I've never posted with no tagging, but that's just that information. I think I'm going to stop the video at this point, but it's good information. It should be able to keep you from having to worry about remembering everything tomorrow when we go over all of this, but also the ability to go back and look at it again. You say, gosh, where was that? You can just go back and review the video and figure out where all these links are. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.